Hello everyone, welcome to the new session of Sustainable Agriculture Part 2. So this is the second part, and in this part we are going to study about the plant production practices. So we are having different practices for the production plant. So what sustainable way we are going to use for the production of plants. Okay, soil management practices, sustainable based and efficient use of inputs. These we are going to cover up in this particular session. So let us start the session. Plant production practices. So the sustainable production practices involve variety of approaches. In the sustainable production practices, we are having different types of approach. Specific strategies must take into account topographically, means if we are using the land, okay, that is topography. So the different strategies must be take into account for soil, for determining the soil characteristic, climate of that particular land, pests, what are the different pests that generally harm to the plants or the crop, local availability of inputs, and the individual grower's goal. So what is the grower's goal? What is the farmer want to grow? What is their requirement? Whether this topography suits for growing that particular crop or not, whether the soil characteristic is matching for that particular crop or not. Okay, what are the climatic conditions that are going to favor that, because we are not going to change and we are not able to change the climate, right? We can only manage two things. In the early last session we have covered this, that what two things we can cover, that is water management, and the another one is the soil management. These two things are in our hand, in our control, and that we can manipulate according to our crop requirement. We cannot change the climate, we cannot change the weather, right? These two things, but we can manage. So according to the farmer requirement, we can go for the proper water management for that crop. We can go for proper soil management for that crop. Okay. Despite the site-specific and individual nature of the sustainable agriculture, several general principles can be applied to help grower select appropriate management practices. So generally, farmers are not aware about these things. What are that? Appropriate management practices, right? So we must train to those farmers. Generally they know about, but they're not in a habit, and they do not know what are the benefits that are going to come in the longer term, right? So one must help them to understand what are the different management practices, okay? And that is totally sustainable, very, very important. Selection of species and varieties that are well suited to the site and to the condition on the farm. So one thing, we have a farm and that has a specific condition. Condition means soil, what is the type of soil, and what is the water availability, right? And what is general weather condition. So according to these things, right, we are going to select the species and varieties. Very important. Species and variety of a crop that we want to grow in this particular land. And that must suits to the soil and water type. Soil type and water availability. Diversification of crops, including the livestock and the cultural practices to enhance the biological and economic stability of the farm. So if we are having farmland and if we are growing considering the diversification of crop, means this crop growing also include livestock. So if a farmer is having a number of livestock, then there will be a lot of manure, farm-based manure, right? So that farm-based manure can be used for this particular farm in a form of fertilizer. We can actually escape this using fertilizer, and we can use this manure. Now, if you are using this manure, then you are following the sustainable agriculture, right? So this cultural practices to enhance the biological and economic stability of the farm. So that particular farm is biologically and economically going to be stable in longer term. The management of the soil to enhance and protect soil quality. We must follow a proper management. We will have a particular session for the management of soil. This is a very big topic. So here we are just considering the management of the soil, right? And if we are following the management of the soil, then we are protecting our soil quality of the farm. So efficient and humane use of inputs. Consideration of farmers' goal and lifestyle choices. So this is also one of the very important. So what is the farmer goals? Okay, and their goals is according to their lifestyle. Now, very important, selection of site and the species and variety. Preventive strategies adopted early can reduce the inputs and help establish a sustainable production system. So what are those preventive strategies? When possible, pest-resistant crops should be selected which are tolerant for existing soil or site condition. So we are selecting a crop. We are selecting a crop that are having a following characteristic. This is pest-resistant crop. First thing, okay, what is your existing soil? It's suited to that soil. Suited to the soil. Right? Suited to the water availability. What is the water availability? We know. So, suited for the water availability. Right? And the site condition. So, if we are using this particular crop, then our crop will flourish in that particular site. When the site selection is an option, factors such as soil type and depth, previous crop history, and location, example, the climate, topography, should be taken into account before planting. So, if we can select the site, okay, this is in our hand. Suppose if we are going to select a site, then what type of crop we are going, we know, and according to that crop, we must know what is the previous crop history at that particular place, right? What is the soil type? We can test. What is the climatic condition and the topography? We can know. And according to that, we can plan our species. So first is a very utmost important thing is that selection of site. And what are the factors that we must know for the selection of site is that is soil type, depth of the soil, previous crop history, location, and location means climate and the topography of that particular place. Okay, diversity. Diversified farms are usually more economically and ecologically resilient. Diversify means we are not growing a single crop every year. So if we are growing a single type of crop, then that particular crop require only one type of nutrients, and every year it is taking that nutrients from the soil. And what will happen? After a time, that particular soil will not have a particular nutrient, and the crop which you are growing every year, that will not grow because that particular nutrient is not available in the soil, right? So while monoculture farming has advantages in the terms of efficiency and ease of management, it is very clear that if we are following the monoculture, then it is very easy, all ins and out of the growing of that particular crop, so it is very easy to grow that particular crop. But the loss of the crop in any one year could put a farm out of business and or seriously disrupt the stability of a community dependent on that crop. But if there is any type of disease or weather, like if there is no rain, no water availability, then what will happen? There will be no crop, because you have grown only one type of crop. Okay, so that in that particular year you are going to bear a lot of loss, right? So monoculture farming is not a good option. By growing variety of crops, farmers spread economic risk and are less susceptible to the radical price fluctuation associated with the change in the supply and demand. So monoculture is having risk of disease, risk of climatic condition not favorable, risk of radical price fluctuation. When you are going to sell your crop, there is a fluctuation of the price and you are bearing a loss. So there are so many fundamental way in which you can get a loss if you are following the monoculture. But if you are following a variety of crop, then suppose there is a loss on one particular crop of any of this type, okay, but the other two crop can give you no economic risk, and you have a profit in that term. So properly managed diversity can also buffer a farm in a biological sense. So these are all the small you can say a type of sustainable management practice that one must follow in their agriculture. The farmers should follow this in their agriculture practice. For example, in annual cropping system, crop rotation can be used to suppress the weeds, pathogen and insect pest. So we must follow the annual crop system or the crop rotation to suppress the weeds, pathogen and insect pest. Also, cover crop can have a stabilizing effect on the agro ecosystem by holding soil and nutrient in place. This we have discussed, that if you grow two crop at the same time, that is a mixed cropping or alternate cropping pattern, then you can stabilize the nutrients in the soil, okay, and conserve the soil moisture as well. So these are the small things that you must take care, and it also helps to water holding capacity of the soil, right? So these are the things that diversity maintain in the cropping pattern. Cover crops in orchard and the vineyards can buffer the system against the pest infections by increasing beneficial arthropod population and can therefore reduce the need of chemical inputs. So in the orchard and vineyards, buffer the system against the pest infection by increasing the beneficial arthropod population. So there are so many arthropod population insects that harm to our crops, right? So using a variety of Cover crops is also important in order to protect against the failure of particular species. So one of the particular species is the main crop, right? But there are small other crops are also we are growing. So they are called as cover crops. So the using variety of cover crops in is also an important in order to protect against the failure of a particular species to grow and attract and sustain wide range of beneficial arthropods, right? So this is the thing. Optimum diversity may be obtained by integrating both crops and livestock in the same farming operations. So optimum diversity may be obtained by integrating both the crops and livestock. This is very important. We have discussed that we must have a different crops growing in our farmland, and also we can manage some livestock, right? So this was the common practice for the centuries until the mid 90s, when the technology, government policy and other economic compelled farms to become more specialized. Mixed crop and the livestock operations have the several advantages. If we are following mixed cropping pattern and we are having the livestock in our farmland, then we are having many advantages. What are those? First, growing row crops only on more level land, and pasture or forage on the steeper slopes will reduce the soil erosion. So we are having rows crops here, that is the main crop, and here we can have some fodder crop, right? Some fodder crop. So there will be no soil erosion from here, right? Second, pasture and the forage crops in rotation enhance the soil quality and reduces erosion. Livestock manure in turn contributes to the soil fertility. So you are having the livestock also. So you are getting the livestock manure. You can have control on the erosion of the soil because you are having two types of crop, pasture and forage crop. Okay, and that enhances the soil quality and also reduces the erosion because your soil is not open anytime for, because once the crop has been removed, you can grow a fodder. If a particular crop is not suitable to grow at that time, you can grow forage or the fodder crop, right? So this is one of the things that can be enhanced. Soil content or the soil nutrient can be enhanced, and there is a reduction of erosion also. Third, the livestock can buffer the negative impacts of low rainfall periods by consuming crop residues that in plant only system would have been considered crop failure. So the livestock can buffer the negative impact. Sometimes we farmers are having the livestock as well as the crop growing. So sometimes what happens, there is a no crop at all because of no rainfall or any other type of disease is spread. So at that particular time, what is going to help in their livelihood? So the livestock are there. They can sell milk, okay, to manage their daily activities. Finally, feeding and marketing are the flexible in animals production system. So this is one of the easy way to feed the cattle and marketing of their whatever the product they are getting. So this can all help cushion farmers against the trade and price fluctuation, and in conjunction with the cropping operation make more efficient use of farm labor. A common philosophy, soil management. A common philosophy among the sustainable agriculture practitioners is that healthy soil is key component of the sustainability. Very, very important. And I've already told you two things in your hand, in the farmer hand, that is soil management. Soil management, and second thing is the water management. These two things a farmer can manage, right? So for the sustainable agriculture, what is most important? Healthy soil. And that is, the healthy soil will produce healthy crop plants that have the optimum vigor and are less susceptible to any type of pest. While many crops have the key pest that attack even the healthiest of the plant, proper soil, water and nutrient availability, okay, so that can prevent some pest problem brought on by crop stress or the nutrient imbalance. Furthermore, the crop management system that impair the soil quality often result in the greater inputs of water, nutrients, pesticides and other energy for tillage and maintaining yields. So this is very important, that if you are going for the soil management, right, if the soil is proper, soil is having full nutrient, better water quality, right, or availability, then some of the problems that can be managed. But if there is nutrient imbalance in the soil, there is a water less availability, and there is a pest problem, all the problems we cannot handle. Okay. But the thing which are in our hand, that is management of soil and water. If these two things we are managing, then some of the problems can be bearable. Okay. In sustainable system, the soil is viewed as a fragile and the living medium that must be protected and nurtured to ensure it a long-term productivity and stability. So method to protect and enhance the productivity of the soil include using cover crops, compost or manures, reducing tillage, avoid traffic on the wet soil, and maintaining soil cover with plants or mulches. We can have some plants or mulches when the soil are exposed, we can cover with them. Okay. And the compost and also manure we can add, that reduces the tillage. So these are the things that can be used to enhance the productivity of soil. Regular additions of the organic matter or the use of cover crops can increase the soil aggregate stability, soil tilth and diversity of the soil microbial life. So if we are adding proper manure, then we are enhancing the soil microbial life, and that is very important for increasing the fertility of the soil. Okay. So soil management, effect of the sustainable soil management. So what are the effect? Soil erosion is controlled, soil structure degradation is handled, nutrient imbalance is handled, salinization, contaminants, soil sealing is minimized, and optimized and safe use of agrochemicals. So these are the certain if we manage the soil, then we are able to manage all these problems. So effect of sustainable soil management: soil organic matter can be added, water efficiency and soil biodiversity. Okay, so this is all about this session. So with this session, we will have one more session for the sustainable agriculture. Till then, thank you very much.